Have you ever wondered why some people seem to despise you, even when all you do is show them kindness? You go out of your way to help them. You're always there when they need support, offering your time, attention, and care without asking for anything in return. Yet somehow, they respond with contempt, dismiss your efforts, or even actively work against you. It's a bewildering and often painful experience, leaving you questioning your motives, your worth, and even your understanding of human nature. Why would anyone reject genuine kindness? Why would someone lash out or feel threatened by a simple act of compassion? Why does giving without expectation sometimes seem to invoke hatred rather than gratitude? The answer lies deep within the human psyche, in the shadowy parts of ourselves that we refuse to confront. Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, spent decades studying the intricacies of the human mind. His groundbreaking research into the unconscious and the structure of the personality offers a lens through which we can understand this paradox. The more kind and authentic you are, the more likely you are to provoke resentment in others. Most people assume that kindness naturally leads to kindness in return. This belief is so ingrained that when it is violated, it feels like a profound injustice. But Jung discovered a surprising and unsettling truth. Your genuine compassion might actually trigger hostility, envy, or even hatred. He explained that the unconscious mind of the other person reacts not to the action itself, but to what that action reveals about them. Your kindness becomes a mirror, reflecting all the parts of themselves they refuse to acknowledge. Jung once said, "Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is." But what does this mean in practice? The shadow represents all the aspects of ourselves that we reject, deny, or hide away. It is the repository of our flaws, insecurities, suppressed desires, and darker impulses, the parts of ourselves we deem unacceptable or unworthy. The shadow does not disappear simply because we ignore it. Rather, it operates unconsciously, influencing behaviors in ways we often cannot see. When you consistently show patience, understanding, and generosity to someone, you are not just being nice, you are holding up a mirror to their shadow. They see in you the qualities they lack or refuse to embrace. Instead of thinking, "This is a wonderful person," their unconscious mind whispers, "This person is everything I'm not. They highlight my inadequacies." This is what Jung called shadow projection, the process by which people unconsciously project their disowned qualities, fears, and insecurities onto others. Suddenly, your kindness is no longer a virtue. It is a threat. You become the target not because of what you do, but because of what your actions reveal about them. Consider, for example, a scenario in a workplace setting. You go out of your way to help a colleague meet a tight deadline. You offer guidance, share resources, and even stay late to ensure the work gets done. Instead of gratitude, you notice subtle hostility, dismissive comments, passive-aggressive remarks, or even overt criticism. On the surface, it makes no sense. You acted with selflessness, yet your effort is met with antagonism. According to Jung, this reaction is not about your behavior. It is about the colleague's shadow, the parts of themselves they cannot face. Your kindness forces them to confront their own perceived inadequacies. Your generosity highlights their failures, their insecurities, and the traits they have long denied or repressed. Now, imagine this not just in the workplace, but in friendships. You consistently listen to a friend's problems, offer advice, and support their goals. Yet you notice subtle resentment creeping in. Perhaps they belittle your successes, make sarcastic remarks, or undermine your efforts behind your back. Even though your intentions are pure, your actions provoke feelings of inadequacies in them. They see your strengths as a reminder of their own neglected or suppressed potentials. Jung would say that your authenticity illuminates their shadow, the parts of themselves they avoid acknowledging. In romantic relationships, this phenomenon can be even more pronounced. One partner may feel threatened by the emotional intelligence, patience, or understanding of the other. Kindness in this context may be misinterpreted as superiority, judgment, or condescension. Jung's shadow projection explains that the partner is not rejecting your qualities. They are reacting to the internal void that your presence exposes. Your calm, measured, and generous nature highlights the parts of themselves they refuse to confront: anger, insecurity, fear, or unresolved trauma. Jung also emphasized, The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. This is a statement that few people fully internalize. Complete self-acceptance is terrifying because it requires confronting every part of ourselves, the good, the bad, and the parts we deem unworthy. Your kindness forces people to confront these parts of themselves. When you respond to cruelty with patience, judgment with understanding, or jealousy with compassion, you demonstrate a different way of being, a higher way of being that many may not recognize in themselves. This threatens their self-concept. Many prefer to cling to their old identity, even if it is negative, rather than face the uncomfortable truth that they could evolve, grow, or change. The result is a psychological imbalance. Instead of feeling inspired or grateful, they experience inferiority, discomfort, or even resentment. Their internal equilibrium has been disrupted, and in an unconscious attempt to restore it, they often try to tear you down. The kinder you are, the more you trigger this shadow. They may attempt to convince themselves and others that your kindness is fake, manipulative, or self-serving. Jung noted that people often fabricate elaborate stories to shield themselves from confronting the truths your authenticity reveals. Every compliment you offer, every supportive gesture, can be misinterpreted as a threat to their fragile self-image. Jung's observations also extended to the dynamics of irritation. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves, he said. When your kindness irritates someone, it is not a reflection of your flaws, but a mirror of their own unresolved struggles. Most people operate behind a persona, a mask crafted to societal expectations, to appear competent, strong, or realistic. Your authentic self, expressed through consistent and genuine kindness, threatens this facade. Their persona feels exposed, hollow, or inadequate. Unable to admit this to themselves, they project their inner turmoil onto you. This projection manifests in many ways. Patience may be labeled as weakness, understanding as naivete, and kindness as stupidity. People are not angry at your qualities. They are angry at the absence of these qualities within themselves. This is an unconscious psychological mechanism, but its effects are very real and often painful. The more emotionally and spiritually mature you become, the more others may unconsciously attempt to pull you back, trying to bring you down to their level of stagnation. This is why, paradoxically, personal growth can attract resistance, hostility, or resentment. To illustrate, think of family dynamics. A family member may consistently criticize or dismiss your accomplishments, even when they are objectively positive. Why? Because your growth forces them to confront their own stagnation or unhealed wounds. Your presence, your accomplishments, and your kindness act as mirrors reflecting their shadow. Jung would argue that these reactions are not personal attacks, but unconscious defenses against the truths they cannot face. In social dynamics, you may notice that groups sometimes react collectively to suppress or demean individuals who display exceptional kindness, integrity, or self-awareness. Jung's concept of the collective unconscious explains this. Societies carry embedded expectations and patterns. When one person's behavior challenges these norms, even unintentionally, it can provoke hostility. Bullying, scapegoating, or social exclusion often reflects shadow projection at a cultural level. Consider social media, where acts of generosity, authenticity, or vulnerability can provoke disproportionate backlash. Someone posting heartfelt advice, honest reflections, or supportive gestures may receive hostile comments or ridicule. This is a modern manifestation of Jungian shadow projection at scale. The audience's unconscious insecurities are reflected in their responses, often interpreted as personal attacks, when in reality they reveal more about their own unresolved struggles than about you. However, Jung did not leave us without guidance. He emphasized that true kindness must originate from strength, not weakness. Genuine compassion requires healthy boundaries and self-awareness. When kindness is performed to gain approval, admiration, or validation, it often triggers more hostility than authentic generosity, because it is perceived as manipulative. This is what Jung referred to as the helper's neurosis, a condition in which one's acts of kindness are rooted in unconscious attempts to control how others perceive them, rather than authentic expression of self. To offer authentic kindness, one must undertake their own shadow work, confronting the parts of oneself that seek external validation or the need to be seen as good. This work allows kindness to flow naturally, without attachment to outcomes. Boundaries are essential. They allow you to remain compassionate without absorbing others' projections. Jung called this process differentiation, the ability to remain yourself while allowing others to remain themselves, free from your emotional influence. Jung also examined the dynamics of individuals trapped in victimhood or wounded identity. People addicted to their own suffering may reject your help, sabotage your efforts, or attack your boundaries. Often this occurs unconsciously. They are defending familiar psychological patterns and resisting transformation. Consistent kindness may provoke what Jung termed archetypal envy, in which emotionally impoverished individuals seek to diminish or invalidate the generosity of others. This creates the authenticity paradox. The more genuine and mature you become, the more it highlights the unconscious shortcomings of others, provoking defensive or hostile reactions.
The solution, Jung argued, lies in emotional sobriety, the ability to perceive projection without internalizing it, to remain kind without being naive or codependent. This is what Jung referred to as conscious compassion, the ability to witness the pain, insecurities, or projections of others without absorbing them, understanding without becoming entangled, and offering kindness without compromise. Emotional sobriety allows you to maintain your authenticity while protecting your energy, ensuring that your acts of generosity are untainted by the shadows of others. Ultimately, the resistance, resentment, or hostility you face is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of the shadows, insecurities, and unhealed wounds of others. Jung emphasized, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Your task is not to make your kindness palatable to everyone. Instead, it is to cultivate it authentically, with awareness, integrity, and boundaries. When practiced in this way, kindness becomes powerful, unshakable, and transformative. Others may not always appreciate it, but they cannot project their shadows